Personal Power, Chapter 9, The Master Formula. In the preceding section of this book, we directed your attention to the Master Formula of Attainment, a working principle embodying the practical wisdom and extended experience of certain of the great ancient teachers and of their modern followers, and which in this instruction is presented to our students in plain words and reduced to the condensed form of a definite formula as follows. The master formula of attainment consists of 5 elements. 1, definite ideals. 2, insistent desire. 3, confident expectation. 4, persistent determination. 5, balanced compensation. Reduced to popular terms, the master formula may be expressed as follows. You may have anything you want, provided that you, 1, know exactly what you want. 2, want it hard enough. 3, confidently expect to obtain it. 4, persistently determined to obtain it. And 5, are willing to pay the price of its attainment. Definite ideals consists of certain well-defined, clear, strong, and positive ideas, ideals, ambitions, aims, ends, intentions, and purposes concerning the objects which you desire, hope, and will to attain. They necessitate strong, clear, definite purposes to attain and achieve. This element may be stated in popular terms as knowing exactly what you want. The clearer and more definite your ideas, ideals, and purposes, the greater is the strength of your process of idealization and the more powerful your mental element of ideation. The importance of having definite ideals, of knowing exactly what you want, cannot easily be overestimated. In fact, the failure to cultivate, develop, and maintain this mental state may be said to constitute one of the great causes of failure or of imperfect expression on the part of men and women. One may be, and often is, quite strong in his development and exercise of the other 4 of the elements of the master formula. But if he is lacking in the element of definite ideals, his efforts will be largely wasted and ineffective, and he will fail to attain success and full achievement in his life work. A person lacking in definite ideals, one not knowing exactly what he wants, is like a man undertaking a journey without a definite idea of his destination, his route, and the other details of his journey. Like the man in the popular song of a few years ago, he sings, "I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way." Or again, such a one is like a man who fires his gun aimlessly without pointing it toward any particular object and still expects to hit something. Or once more, he is like a man trying to build a house without having in his mind an idea of what kind of structure he desires to build, how many rooms it will contain, or what will be its dimensions. Everything that man has ever succeeded in building has first existed in an ideal form in his mind. Everything that he has ever succeeded in accomplishing has been attained largely by reason of a definite purpose existing in his mind and serving to direct and employ his will. The more clearly he is able to idealize his desires and purposes, the more direct will be his work of actualization. The more clearly he is able to idealize his purpose, the firmer and more stable will that purpose become. The man who wishes to climb the mountain of attainment must have not only ideals, but also definite ideals. He must not only have a general idea which he wishes to materialize into reality, he must also have definite ideals which he wishes to take on definite, objective, real form and manifestation. Hazy, indefinite ideals result in scattered purpose and misdirected energy. The man who wants one thing today and another thing tomorrow will likely get neither. He must learn to want certain things, definite things today, tomorrow, and the day after, if he wishes to obtain them. Shifting purpose and conflicting desires prevent that concentration and focalizing of will, which is a necessary element to all successful striving and attainment. One must proceed to eliminate the less advantageous desires one by one in order to clear away the space around the great desires. By so doing, he is able to focus his attention upon the objects represented by the dominant desires and thus create a definite ideal concerning them. Many persons have found it difficult to create definite ideals because of the conflict of desires which they find within themselves. They want so many things that they are unable to decide just which things they want most. This being the case, it is almost impossible for them to create and maintain the definite ideals which constitute the first requisite of attainment. In that volume of the present series, which is entitled Creative Power, this phase of the subject is considered in detail. If you are one who has been subjected to the embarrassment of riches along the lines of wants, and who has been unable to create a strong and effective definite ideal of that which you want most, then we feel justified in recommending to your attention the book in question. Make a mental note of this axiom. The first step on the ladder of attainment is that of definite purpose, the stage of knowing exactly what you want. Unless your foot is firmly planted on that step, you will never be able to reach the successive steps above it on the ladder. Insistent desire consists of the insisting, persisting, persevering, demanding that your desire, wish, want, craving, longing, urge be gratified and satisfied. To insist is to take a stand and refuse to give way, to hold to something firmly and determinedly. Examples of insistent desire are had in that statement employed so repeatedly in the several books comprising the present course of instruction. That is, desire as the starving man desires food, as the thirst-cursed man desires water, as the drowning man desires air, as the mother desires the welfare and safety of her children, as the wild animal desires its mate. When you can and will desire like this, then you will manifest insistent desire. In the popular phrase, this is wanting the thing hard enough. Very few persons really know what it is to want the thing hard enough. They may think and say that they want the thing, even that they want it in the worst way, but they have not learned to want it with that fierce hunger or terrific thirst of desire which distinguishes the living creature that wants with a force which refuses to be denied. The difference between the men who do things and get things and those of the opposite type often consists largely of the element of insistent desire, the element of wanting the thing hard enough. What we call a strong will in a man is often found to be really an insistent desire, a power of desire which demands to be satisfied and will not rest content unless it be satisfied. If you know persons of this type, as you probably do, you will remember that their flame of desire burns fiercely and that it draws freely upon the world for its fuel. You will also remember that persons antagonizing this fierce flame, who come in contact with it, are very apt to be burnt or at least singed by it. The more you analyze the spirit of will, the more you will see that its very essence consists of insistent. The more you analyze the spirit of will, the more you will see that its very essence consists of insistent desire. It is impossible for a man to have a strong will unless he first has insistent desire. Desire has been aptly spoken of as the flame which generates the steam of will. The stronger the flame, the greater the quality and power of the steam. A little self-analysis will serve to reveal to you just what an important part is played by insistent desire in the processes of willpower. You will see that every time in which you displayed great willpower, you first were filled with insistent desire. Likewise, looking backward, you will see that in cases in which your willpower failed you, your desire was weak or lost its insistent quality. The more that you explore the regions of willpower, the more convinced you will be that insistent desire constitutes the very spirit and essence of that great mental power. To want the thing hard enough is not merely to wish it mildly or to desire to have it come to you in some degree. To want it hard enough is to want it as the wild creature wants its food and its mate, as the mother wants her young when they have strayed away from her. Insistent desire is a strong elemental urge, a primeval aboriginal force. It is the force that animates all living things in their elemental conditions and which seems to be present even in the inanimate forces of nature. It is the power manifesting in all evolution, in all progress, in all achievement. It is a raw force, something essentially elemental and primitive. It is the force that does things, that gains things in the world of change and becoming. In that volume of this series entitled Desire Power, we have considered the subject of insistent desire in detail and have indicated scientific methods for its development and cultivation. If you feel the need of helpful instruction along the lines of insistent desire, we feel warranted in recommending to your attention the book in question. It cannot fail to strengthen you in this particular element of your character. Make a mental note of this axiom. The second step in the ladder of attainment is that of insistent desire, the stage of wanting the thing hard enough. Unless you plant your foot firmly on that step, you will never be able to reach the successive steps above it on the ladder. Confident expectation consists of the certain, confident, undoubting faith that you will obtain that concerning which you have definite ideals and insistent desire. It is the quintessence of hope faith, the hope that is confident and the faith that knows. It is illustrated by your confident expectation that the sun will rise tomorrow morning, or that effect will follow cause, or that the sum of 2 + 2 will be 4. When you can and will entertain this feeling toward the object of your definite purpose and insistent desire, then will you manifest confident expectation. Confident expectation is the essential spirit of faith, and faith has been termed the white magic of power. The psychological principle involved in expectant attention, confident expectation, and hopeful faith is an important dynamic energy. The principle manifests and expresses itself in practically all forms of human endeavor. The figurative statement concerning the movement of mountains by the power of faith has a far more real and substantial practical basis than is imagined by the average person hearing or reading the words. Men are moving mountains of circumstances every day, mainly by their faith power. It is an axiom of practical business that a man can sell that in which he believes the most. Every sales manager knows why many of his salesmen sell certain styles or grades of goods in far greater quantity than their fellow salesmen and in greater proportion to other styles or grades. They believe in these particular styles or grades. That's all. Many a man has failed to succeed in business simply because he couldn't believe in that which he was trying to sell or promote. So true is this that the efficient sales manager knows that he must first sell to the prospective salesman before the latter can sell to his customers. Likewise, he knows that if the sales force once gets the idea that a certain line of goods is not desirable, if the salesman once get to disbelieve in their goods, then that line of goods is doomed so far as that house is concerned. There is a subtle principle of psychology involved in the operation of faith power, of confident expectation and expectant attention. The mental attitude indicated by those terms is accompanied by a sharpening of the perceptive and reflective mental powers, by an increased drought operating upon the flame of desire, and by a generally stiffening and strengthening of the will. Lack of faith, or worse still, confident expectation of failure and disaster, will serve to deaden the flame of desire, to weaken the will, and to paralyze and stupefy the faculties of perception and reflection. None of the mental faculties will operate to the full extent and in the most efficient manner if doubt, disbelief, and unfaith exist in the soul of that individual. To lose faith is to lose heart, and to lose heart is to lose desire and will. When such a negative mental attitude is manifested by you towards your undertakings, then indeed does the bottom drop out. Every individual does his best when he earnestly believes in the success of the undertaking. Faith, confident expectation, and expectant attention cannot be left out of the master formula of attainment, nor may it be omitted from any other rule of practical, efficient action. When doubt, disbelief, and unfaith rise to the stage of confident expectation or faith in the adverse outcome of your endeavors, plans, and projects and undertakings, then the negative quality is transformed into a quasi-positive one. That is to say, it passes beyond the stage in which it serves merely to retard, restrict, and interfere with the success of your plans and tasks. It becomes a power which operates actively to bring about the failure and undesirable outcome which you confidently expect and believe will result. In this way, faith power is set into reverse and your car of progress runs backwards. This is no mere fanciful statement or form of superstition. It is the statement of an active, working psychological principle which manifests itself in the life of every individual who allows himself to fall into this unfortunate mental attitude. Proofs of it are to be found on all sides in the experience of others and perhaps in your own past experience. In that volume of this series entitled Faith Power, we have considered the subject of confident expectation in detail, its underlying laws and principles being explained fully, and rules and methods for its successful application being presented to its readers. We feel justified in recommending that book to your attention and study if you are of the many who are weak on faith power and who have not as yet learned how to set into operation the mighty forces of faith and confident expectation. Make a mental note of this axiom. The third step on the ladder of attainment is that of confident expectation, the stage of confidently expecting to obtain the thing. Unless you plant your foot firmly on that step, you will never be able to reach the higher ones of the ladder. Persistent determination consists of the persistent, insistent, unchanging, fixed, stable, tenacious, unyielding, and firm will, intent, determination, and purpose of obtaining that which is fixed in your mind as definite ideals, in your emotional nature as insistent desire, and in your faith as confident expectation. It is illustrated by Disraeli's famous statement, "A human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it. Nothing can resist a will which will stake even existence upon its fulfillment." And by Buxton's equally famous expression of faith in invincible determination, a purpose once fixed and then death or victory. When you can and do will and determine action upon your definite ideals, insistent desire, and confident expectation in this way, in this degree, to this extent, then will you manifest persistent determination. Persistent determination is an attribute of willpower and represents the essential principle of that highly important mental faculty. It expresses the mental attitude of indomitable will, the persistent determination that you must and will accomplish that which you have set out to accomplish, and must and will succeed in obtaining that which is the object of your ideals, desire, and faith. To succeed, to accomplish, you must determinedly apply your will to do the task before you, and must hold fast to the cutting edge of your cold chisel of will to the work before you. Moreover, you must will, persistently and determinedly, that the outcome of your endeavors must and shall be successful. You will catch the spirit of persistent determination when you consider the essential meaning of the two elements composing the term persistence, is tenacity, doggedness, staying quality. Determination is strength and firmness of mind, firm resolve or resolution, absolute direction to a certain end. The composite term indicates the staying, tenacious, dogged will manifesting in an absolute direction toward a set, certain, fixed purpose or end. Or it may be said to indicate the fixed and tenacious aim, design, intention, resolution, determination, and will to accomplish or to reach some particular object or end. Persistent determination manifests its power in its work of steadying and holding to its task the dynamic power of will. Willpower must not be scattered or dissipated. It must be held firmly to the task before it. The man of strong willpower accomplishes nothing until he is able to apply it effectively in a definite, determined direction. He must manifest his will in the spirit of steadfastness, firmness, fixed intention and purpose, positive direction, and unfailing constancy. He must set his hand to the plow and look not backward. He must persevere despite obstacles and discouragements. He must manifest steadfastness in the face of opposition and hindrances. In the volume of this series entitled Willpower, we have dwelt particularly upon this particular element of willpower. We take the liberty of asking you to consider carefully the following passages from the work in question. The characteristics of persistent determination are stability, perseverance, fixedness of purpose, tenacity, doggedness, and persistent application. Persistent determination enables you to hold your will close to its task, to hold it there firmly and continuously until success is attained and the victory is won. Success in many instances depends upon the application of persistent determination, the manifestation of the power and determination to hold on to the last. Many a man possessing the other qualities of willpower has fought a brave fight, but just before the tide turned in his favor, he has relinquished his efforts and has dropped out of the fight, defeated not by circumstances, but by his own lack of persistent determination. By studying the lives of the great inventors, Morse and Edison, for instance, you will see the utmost importance of this faculty of holding on in this spirit of never say die. In persistent determination and the voluntary action based upon it, the will deliberately chooses an end or object to be attained and then proceeds to manifest the determination in outward form and action. It proceeds to its end with intensity of purpose and directness of aim. The end must be clear, definite, and capable of distinct visualization. The effort to gain that end must call into operation the whole nature of the will and the whole force of energy of the willpower. As it has been said, the whole living strength of the will must be literally hurled into it, not once or twice, but again and again until it is accomplished. The persistent determination must be real. It must be meant by you with the full power of your soul. You must not trifle with such resolutions. You must be deadly earnest about them. Remember that the honor and integrity of your will is at stake, and that you must not bring discredit upon it. To break such a resolution is to bring shame upon yourself and to your will. This is the essence and spirit of persistent, purposeful determination. Strive ever to attain, sustain, and manifest it. That is the flash of the will that can. We feel warranted in recommending that volume of this series entitled Willpower, from which we have just quoted, to your attention and study if you feel the need of a strengthening, developing, and cultivating willpower. It is devoted exclusively to the consideration of the principles and laws of willpower and contains practical instructions along the lines of the development of that great mental force. Make a mental note of this axiom. The fourth step on the ladder of attainment is that of persistent determination, the stage of persistently determining to obtain the thing. Unless you plant your foot firmly on that step, you will never reach the goal which you seek by means of that ladder. Balanced compensation consists of the willingness to pay the price of attainment in the shape or form of A, untiring and unyielding persistent and persevering work, leading towards your definite end and purpose, aim, and intention, and B, the sacrifice of desires, aims, purposes, ideas, feelings, likes, and dislikes of all mental or emotional states, in fact, which oppose or contradict your definite ideals and which threaten to impair, obstruct, or defeat their definite purpose. The law of compensation and balance runs through all nature and all life. One must always pay the price. Two ancient aphorisms illustrate this. Number one, said the gods to man, what you want, take it, but pay the price. And number two, do as thou wilt, but pay the price. The man who really wants anything hard enough is always ready and willing to pay the price in work, toil, effort, and in the relinquishment of all that obstructs, diverts, or obstructs the attainment of that which he desires and wills. Balanced compensation is a great law of nature. None escape it. Nothing is free from its laws. Everything is balanced by something else. Everything must give something in order to get something. Everything must give up something in order to get more of something else. Emerson has brought out this universal principle in his great essay entitled Compensation, and the experience of every individual serves to illustrate the operation of this law. Everything must be paid for in the price of something else. Everything maintains its position by reason of balance. The wise men of the race recognize this great principle and proceed in accordance with it. The fools seek to overcome it and fail by reason of their folly. All men who have attained, or achieved anything at all worthwhile have paid the price. The price paid by them consists of various elements: work performed, persistent application, perseverance, industry, diligence. All these form a part of the price. Service rendered to others, for which one receives compensation in one form or another. This is a part of the price, and a very important part too. Other forms of the price are found in the sacrifice and renunciation of ideas, ideals, feelings, desires, ambitions, aims, ends, which are opposed to the subject or object representing the top values or prime motives of the individual. The successful man is found always to have sacrificed and renounced the lesser values for the greater ones. In the work of increasing your desire power and your willpower, you will be called upon frequently to pay the price. Your great desires demand the sacrifice of many minor desires which have been drawing to themselves a portion of the fuel required by the great wants. By extinguishing these minor flames, you serve to give to the great flame of desire all the fuel that is needed by it to generate the steam of will. Your willpower, operating in the direction of persistent, purposeful determination, finds that of necessity it must restrain, control, and even inhibit entirely certain tendencies of your nature which are perceived to work against the success of the main object of your desire and will. The will is ruthless in these matters. It unhesitatingly sacrifices many of the little things of your emotional nature for the one big thing that represents your summum bonum, or greatest good. In the 2 volumes of this series entitled Desire Power and Willpower, respectively, considerable attention has been devoted to this particular subject of feeding the great desires and great objects of will by means of deliberately starving and inhibiting the lesser desires and objects of will which are found to interfere with the successful attainment of the big things. These books are recommended to your attention in case you feel the need of further and special instruction along the lines of balanced compensation. Most persons require such instruction. Many fail by a lack of understanding of this great principle of life. Make a mental note of this axiom. The 5th and final step of the ladder of attainment is that of balanced determination, the stage of paying the price of attainment. Even though you have successfully climbed the 4 lower steps, yet you will fail of attainment if you are unable or unwilling to plant your foot firmly upon this 5th and final one. Unless you are willing to pay the price, your definite ideals, your insistent desire, your confident expectation, and your persistent determination be sufficiently strong and active, then the very force of their urge will often raise you up to the final step of the ladder and will make you willing and glad to pay the price. The secret of the master formula. The master formula of attainment, which has been presented to you, is found to contain the quintessence of those dynamic forces of life and mind known respectively as ideation, desire, faith, will, and balance. The simplicity of the master formula may at first prevent you from fully realizing its tremendous importance. We trust, however, that you will mentally masticate and digest it so that you may fully assimilate its great truths and effective ideas. The longer you consider it, the more you analyze and dissect it, the more you synthesize its several elements into a working principle, the greater will be your appreciation of its value and efficacy. Hold fast to the master formula, for it will prove a tower of strength to you. We suggest that you visualize the diagram of it, which appears in the first portion of this book, directly facing the first page of reading map. Make a mental picture of it, and let its statement be your working slogan. This is all that can be told you in the way of general directions. The details of the application must be worked out by yourself. But the forces which you have set into motion and activity will render this task easy by awakening your subconscious and superconscious mental faculties, which will supply you with the necessary ideas and thoughts. The actual work must be done by yourself, but these awakened and aroused forces of your being will give you the strength and the power to do the work and accomplish the task. They will awaken an unsuspected second wind of power and energy within you and will make you equal to the task. But above all, your spirit must not weaken, and it will not weaken if you manifest the master formula of attainment of which we have just told you. You remember it: definite ideals, insistent desire, confident expectation, persistent determination, and balanced compensation. Not only will the work of the materialization of the ideal proceed in the manner which we have repeatedly indicated in this book, but you will also set into operation that wonderful law of nature called the law of attraction. This law operates in the direction of correlating you to the things serving to aid you in your work of materialization and in attracting them to you. You will find things and persons, circumstances and events gravitating towards you as you proceed. Nature's forces, once strongly set into operation, tend to attract to them that which they need for the full materialization of the idea involved in the process. The materials needed to fill in the picture, to fill the mold, to work out the pattern, all these will move toward the materializing ideal. How, you ask? Well, just as they do toward the idea in the acorn, as it proceeds to evolve into the oak tree, just as they do toward the well-energized germ of the life form which evolves the final form of the adult living creature. You are here setting into operation a great law of nature. Your own will come to you when you have aroused this law into activity. In these pages, you have been asked to consider some great truths, to examine some tremendous principles, to manifest some mighty powers of being, things far more potent and potential than you now even begin to recognize or believe. As you proceed to manifest these in actual experience, the wonder will grow rather than lessen. You will soon become conscious that you are in close contact with some of the most elemental and fundamental laws of nature and of activities proceeding from that which lies back of and under nature. Herein, you have set before you some wonderful instruments and machinery of being. Use them well, but do not misuse them. Do not trifle or play with them. If you use them at all, use them earnestly and toward definite and worthy ends. As we have said, these teachings are not for weaklings nor for babes. They are for full-grown, strong men and women, the true individuals of the race. They are for the fearless and the courageous, and they will make such still more fearless and still more courageous. They will make their users stronger, better, and more efficient, the end sought by all true individuals. Those who master these principles, who recognize, realize, and manifest the truth therein contained, they constitute the very elect of that world of true individuals, which is now opening its hidden treasure to the race of strong individuals who are ready to inhabit it. The elements of these principles will constitute the stuff out of which the supermen will be made, the supermen who will inherit the earth. We have passed on this message to you, charged with the spirit of that which we wish to arouse within you. We trust that its vibrations will awaken responsive rhythms within your own being. We trust that our words will awaken in you definite ideals to achieve a certain end, insistent desire to express your inherent and latent powers, energies, and forces, and to manifest your real destiny. Confident expectation, which comes only to him or her who recognizes and realizes the truth in thought and feeling. Persistent determination, which will apply itself closely to the task of realizing your ideals and manifesting your latent and inherent powers of being and doing, and that willingness to pay the price of balanced compensation for the realization of your goals. Above all, we trust that we have started you well on the road to the recognition, realization, and manifestation of that power from which all power proceeds. and of the focalized center of being and power of power, which is you, yourself, the I am I, the master self, the real self of you. If so, then you will find yourself filled with the spirit of reality, conscious of your own egohood, and intuitively and super consciously aware of the power which is around you, under you, back of you, above you, and in you, and in which you live and move and have your being, and which is your eternal source of supply of personal power. If we have succeeded in our task, you will have advanced in the scale of conscious being and existence. Your former fear has given way to fearlessness, your former doubt to certainty, your former restless condition to poise and power, your former weakness to strength. In that case, your battle cry will be changed. You will plunge into the thick of the fight, filled with the berserker spirit of old, fearing nothing, sure of victory, shouting your battle cry of freedom. I can, I will, I dare, I do. You will plow your way through the ranks of the horde of ignorance and negativity and triumphantly reach the victorious heights of the Mount of Achievement. This is our message of personal power to you, the individual who has found his real self and his source of power. We trust that its seed will find lodgment in fertile soil prepared for its reception, and that in due time it will send forth strong roots and sturdy stalks, from which will unfold stems and leaves and blossoms, and finally will bear the fruit of realization and achievement of that which for so long has been your ideal. Begin today, now, to make your dreams come true. Your ideals become real. You can if you will do if you dare.